Guess what? This is my third cell phone to die on me. Same one I had. It did it third time, and I gotta get it replaced. It's in the mail. 2G to 4G.
Bit nebulous. They're not yes or no. TikTok CEO Shou Chew addressed what he called misconceptions about his platform, like concerns that it's funneling sensitive information to China. TikTok's parent company ByteDance is based out of Beijing.
Can you guarantee that no one at ByteDance had a role in preparing you for today's hearing?
I prepared for this hearing with my team here in DC. TikTok has plans to give Texas-based Oracle control of all data of those in the U.S. who use TikTok. Lawmakers weren't sold. I have seen no evidence that the Chinese government has access to that data.
I find that actually preposterous.
Thursday's hearing turned testy when Florida Republican Kat Kammack played a threatening TikTok video targeting the committee holding the hearing. TikTok removed the video mid-hearing.
And you expect us to believe that you are capable of maintaining the data security, privacy, and security of 150 million Americans where you can't even protect the people in this room?
User safety was also a topic, especially for teens. Critics called out TikTok for hurting mental health and for promoting dangerous viral challenges aimed at kids.
Would you share this content with your children? Your technology is literally leading to death.
Democrat Frank Pallone of New Jersey said TikTok CEO only heightened concerns about the Communist Party controlling the app. On Capitol Hill, Chad Pergram, Fox News.
Which are at the Supreme Court as we speak. You know, we're looking at this case on the Biden loan forgiveness program, right? This is a huge one that you're doing. Another one, which I've talked about extensively on this show, Missouri versus Biden. Looking into the discovery materials have shown us kind of unbelievable cooperation, almost unbelievable cooperation between the government and big tech. And then finally, actually, you've got Hogue versus Newsom. I didn't even know the name of it until today. But I call it, you know, the case challenging the law that I call prevent doctors from doctoring in California. So we're going to talk about all of this today.
Fantastic. They're all important topics.
Absolutely. Well, so let's start with the loan forgiveness. And like the bottom line is, I keep hearing from people that this rule, this approach is just simply illegal, right? But I think you're the one who can actually tell me, is that true, and how true is it? Yeah.
Right. So it's very true, and it's illegal 6 ways from Sunday, or maybe 12. I mean, this is such an illegal act by the administration that we could take as much time as you have really to detail all the various ways in which this is illegal. But maybe the clearest reason why it's illegal is there's just no statutory authority for the Secretary of Education to do what he has done. And federal departments, federal agencies, they don't have any power to act unless Congress gives them that power. And here, Congress has not given the Secretary of Education the power to forgive or cancel student loan debt anywhere like this. In fact, Congress has only done minor debt cancellations in the past with very specific sorts of recipients in mind, and you have to qualify for that cancellation based on criteria that have limited it pretty significantly. Now, what Congress has done more broadly, and they did this in the CARES Act right at the beginning of the pandemic in March of 2020, they put into place a 6-month moratorium, essentially a forbearance, where they said that students with student loan debt, federal student loan debt, did not have to pay principal or interest payments on that for 6 months. That wasn't a cancellation of debt. It was just a forbearance. And so the idea that you could take from that any ability to cancel debt is really just wrong from a legal standpoint.
One of the big questions, right, in people's minds is, you know, it feels like it's just kind of shifting the burden because someone has to pay. One of the big kind of complaints against this idea is it sort of shifts the burden from the people that took the loans out to some other people, right, the taxpayers, broadly speaking. So what is the legality around this? Yeah.
Well, it's interesting you mentioned that fairness question because it came up in oral argument at the Supreme Court this past week. And Chief Justice Roberts, which I don't think of him as necessarily the person most likely to bring up a fairness argument, but he did. He said, what about the kid who took out a loan for a lawn care company and then was devastated by the pandemic, or whatever other kinds of small business type situations you might imagine. And the answers that both the Solicitor General of the U.S. had and that other justices had was, well, we don't judge a law by how it affects other people. We judge it by how it affects the people who are covered by it, because Congress has made that determination to give certain people relief and maybe not other people, and that's not an argument against that particular law. Well, that would be fine if Congress had passed this, but Congress didn't pass this. This is something that has been really created out of whole cloth by the Secretary of Education, and that creates a few different problems from a legality standpoint. One of them that got a lot of play in the oral argument was whether or not the lines that were drawn by the Secretary in crafting this were arbitrary and capricious lines. And that's a bit of jargon that under what's called the Administrative Procedure Act, pretty much any regulation that is passed by a federal department or agency has to satisfy that test of not being arbitrary or capricious. And what it means is that when you're drawing the lines of who qualifies and who doesn't and so forth, the Secretary has to provide sufficient justification for why he drew the lines where he did. He can't just say, oh, we're going to forgive all the debt of women but not men, or all the debt of people of a certain race but not another race, or Catholics but not anybody else. Those would all be arbitrary distinctions. And so one of the concerns with the lines that were drawn is he said, we're going to give $10,000 of debt relief to certain folks and $20,000 to other folks and nothing to other folks. Well, where did he come up with those lines? Congress would be allowed to draw lines like that, but it's not clear that the Secretary has the power to just arbitrarily decide who does and doesn't get debt relief. In fact, I would say it's clear that he does not have the authority to do that.
Your level of wokeness determine your chance to get the promotion or to get benefit. And who decides your level of wokeness? And it's the party leaders.
Do you see how this is the same country, China, who claims that they're not gathering this data, that this is they're not spying on American citizens, is the same country that sent a balloon across the United States over targeted military strategic areas of the United States and claimed that it was a weather balloon gone rogue. It's something that we cannot, obviously China is becoming hostile to the United States, and I don't trust them whenever they say that this data is not such data that they're gaining access to.
Congressman, there's another aspect to TikTok. Of course, you have the spying that's going on because, as you mentioned, it is owned by Chinese-owned ByteDance. Why do you think there's also such a difference between TikTok's algorithms in China and just the way the application is used among children in terms of delivering more educational content versus kind of what we get here in the United States?
Yeah, you make a good point. In fact, during the hearing, the CEO was questioned about TikTok is apparently a useful tool by groomers and individuals that are even using it to migrate illegally across the United States. So it's something that's not being watched carefully on TikTok. Sadly, it becomes an environment where predators can use it as a tool to try to gain access to children, and sadly, criminals are using it to immigrate across the border.
So, Congressman, this also isn't just about the U.S. being the big mean bully like the CCP tries to deflect and say toward China. Other countries like India have completely banned TikTok over national security concern.
Yeah, and already the military has identified that this is not a safe application to be installed. They've banned it. There's several agencies within the federal government that have already taken steps to ban its use. And I think that at the end of the day, American people, regardless of whether we pass something or not, the American people need to be strongly encouraged to delete this app from their phone. It is tracking your location. It's tracking biometric information. It's gaining a very disturbing amount of information about you as an individual. And that data, sadly, I think is available to the Chinese government.